I really think one of the crucial areas that we're going to be dealing with for the next several years, both at the state level and the federal level, is the issue of state autonomy. When the Founding Fathers created and crafted this remarkable form of government, they created a federalist system, not a national system. And most of us in this room probably understand the difference. But a lot of people don't seem to understand the difference. We do not have a national government in Washington, D.C. We have a federal government in Washington, D.C. And there's a huge difference. When the Constitution was ratified in 1787, ladies and gentlemen, the states, the colonies that became states, did not cease to exist. But rather they were empowered by the Constitution limiting the scope of the federal government, and then by the Bill of Rights establishing the freedoms of the individuals and the sanctity of statehood in the 10th Amendment, notifying the federal government that everything not included in the Bill of Rights, as far as freedoms and protections and responsibility and authority enumerated in the Constitution, was reserved to the states and to the people. So that empowered the states, and it gave them the authority and the autonomy and the jurisdiction of statehood. So whenever the federal government came into existence, statehood didn't go away. We didn't cease to be independent states. As Jefferson said in the Declaration, these states are and ought to be free and independent states. Well, that's true. If that was true in 1776, it's true in 2012. But if they don't do their job at the federal level, then guess what? It's up to the states to stand for the liberties and the freedoms of the people of their states against whatever the encroachment of the federal government might be. I mean, Texas is relatively prosperous compared to a lot of parts of the country, but think how prosperous all of the states, including Texas, could become if we could just get Washington, D.C. out of our lives. Just think about it. Think about the laws, the regulations, the rules, the dictates, the inhibitions, all of the things that come down in the form of 1,000 bureaucracies coming out of Washington, D.C. saying, Texas, you can't do this. And Texas, you've got to teach this in your public schools. This is what you've got to teach. And these regulations that you're dealing with that are stifling business, and that banks are not even loaning money to people that actually qualify for it because of all the debacle that took place in the bailouts. They got their money anyway. That's another story. Don't get me started on. But these regulations, these restrictions are 99.9% coming down the pipeline from Washington, D.C. The states' rights issue is a critically important issue. Steve Stockman is a man that understands that. He understands the jurisdictional authority of Washington, D.C. He knows where it ends. He knows where Washington, D.C.'s authorities stop. He knows where Texas autonomy begins. He understands whenever the overreach begins to take place. And he will be a guardian champion for the citizens of Texas in Washington, D.C. to protect their rights and freedoms that are granted by our Constitution and by the Constitution of the state of Texas.